Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Walking God's Purpose podcast. I'm one of your co hosts, Lorna. Unfortunately, Monique could not be with us this week, but we have Estrella again, who was with us last week, who gave her powerful testimony. So, Estrella, can you say hi to everyone?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. And I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So, she had so much knowledge that we could not fit it in one episode. So we had to split it up. Uh, so what we want to do this week is have a more practical discussion regarding natural medicine. So I have some questions that I'm going to ask Estrella, and then she will just kind of go in and answer it. So one of the first things that I would like to know, and I'm pretty sure a lot of our listeners may be interested in knowing, is what are some natural home remedies that we can use? So, for instance, if you have like a common cold or a headache and you don't want to take a Tylenol, what are some natural remedies that we might have around the house that we can use to help us overcome some of those ailments?
Okay, so some of the natural remedies that you can have around the house for just common things. The thing that I like to start out with is basically the principles of health. So one of the major things that we can have around is water.
Mm-hmm.
So water is so important for the cells so that they can work properly and that they can function properly and they can receive and send signals to your immune system, white blood cells, so that your body can fight off, these allergens and these infections or inflammation that's inside the body. But some of the things that I like to keep around is some cayenne pepper. We
Okay.
know that cayenne pepper is a really good thing to have around, and the reason cayenne pepper, it has anti coagulant factors, which it clots the blood, but it
Okay.
also has properties to thin the blood as well. So, but it knows exactly what to do once in the body. So
Oh, wow.
it's good because if you're in an emergency situation in your house, if something happens, then using cayenne pepper, let's say you cut yourself
Mm-hmm.
and you're so far from the hospital, a good thing to have around is the cayenne pepper, and you can just sprinkle some after you clean out the site, but you can sprinkle some on the actual wound, and you will see that the bleeding will stop. Um, so that is very good for that. And I'm a definite candidate for that because being out in the country, I was on the roof cutting with a saw and I accidentally, the saw hit my thigh and I got a little cut.
Mm,
So I had to go in the house and clean it out. And then I used some, it wasn't bleeding that much, but I had the cayenne pepper on hand for that, which reminds me to go to the next thing, which is vinegar.
mm.
I use 1 part vinegar and 4 parts water to rinse out the wound. Because the nearest hospital to me is 35, 40 minutes.
Mhm.
So I needed to clean it out as fast as possible. So having vinegar, vinegar is not only good to clean out wounds, but it's also good for cleaning your house
Mhm.
because there's going to come a time when we can no longer buy or sell. So it's very important to have that. You can use that for cleaning, and it's also used to clean the wounds also. In the wound care department where I used to work, um, we used to use 1 part vinegar and 4 parts water,
Mhm.
and that's what we would use to rinse out the wound. And there's a particular bacteria called pseudomonas. It's a staph uh, infection that the bacteria engulfs inside the wound. And the
Mm-hmm.
way you know you have it is you'll see a green or blue coloring inside the wound.
Mm-hmm.
But the vinegar actually can rid that from the wound. And then another top top essential oil that I would say to have a natural remedy is frankincense essential oil. And it's important to make sure you have the 100% therapeutic grade uh, essential oil. But frankincense, not only is it has cellular properties to help with cellular function, but it's also used. I like to use it when people are having pain, and I love to use the castor oil. Castor oil has the ability to penetrate to the bone.
Oh,
So
really?
yes. So you can use the castor oil as a carrier oil, and then put a couple of drops of frankincense and mix it together, and it'll help take away pain and inflammation.
Oh, wow. Not to cut you, that's so interesting. I use castor oil for my hair. I had no idea it has such a good benefit other than for hair.
Oh, yes. And I also remember having some fibroids, and I used a castor oil and to actually shrink the and remove some of the fibroids.
Hmm.
So castor oil is a must-have, especially in my bag. And then we have tea tree oil. Tea tree oil is good to have around. I like using the essential oils, and here's why: they're easy, they don't take that much space, and you
Mhm.
can have them in your pocket, or you can have them in an area nearby in your kitchen or your bathroom, in your bedroom. And also diffusing them also, tea tree is really good for skin irritations, and it also is used to help purify the air. So that's one of the reasons why I love using the tea tree oil. And also oregano. And if you notice, some of these essential oils that I'm sharing, they're things that are not non-toxic. So we all eat oregano. You
Mm.
know, not everybody may like it, but it's edible. So
Right.
oregano is really good for fungal uh, invasions, fungus, bacteria, and viral properties that it has. So that's why I love that. In addition to garlic, and then we
So I
have
have a quick
charcoal.
question, not to cut you, but
Yes.
like the oregano, most time it's like in, and I think this is it, like it's in like a dried kind of seasoning type way. Like, so can that work, or should we get like fresh oregano? Because sometimes it looks like the Italian season where it's kind of dried out.
Well, yes, fresh is always good. That's what you want to do first. But if you don't
Hmm.
have the fresh, the powdered oregano is also good. It still works,
Okay.
but it's more effective in its natural state.
Okay.
But drying it out, it's kind of like tea. If
Hmm.
you, for like a dandelion tea or any type of tea, that you have to dry the leaves out, and then you brew it and steep it, and then you wait a few minutes, and then you drink it, so there's uses for all parts of the flower depending on what it is. Some 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 herbs you only use the flowers, or the budding or leaves or whatever. So it just depends on the specific flower. um but what I also was going to say, living in the country, and not just living in the country, just to have for emergency reasons, is charcoal, activated food grade charcoal. So, and what that's good for is to absorb toxins. Actually, in the ER, we used to give that to our patients who had drug overdoses, and we would give them a large amount of activated charcoal powder, and so that would actually induce vomiting to and that would absorb and then expel the the pills that the person may have taken, or if there's a child who ingested uh, some kind of poisonous thing at the house or whatever. Charcoal is really good to have. If you get a bite or anything that is related to like a toxin being entered into the body, charcoal is really good for that. So that's good to have for an emergency. If you have a snake bite, you slap your charcoal poultice, and it's very good to like have the charcoal poultice already made, because if you're out in the field and you get bit by a snake or something, and maybe you have a chance to get back in your house, but if if you have it already made, you don't have to take that time, that precious time that you need to put on that snake bite or whatever bite you might have, um
I'm
to go ahead.
so and this so is there like an expiration date, or if you make it, it pretty much can last how long?
Yeah, it
Do you
it
say
can
like after
last.
6 months you should make another batch?
Well, it can. I keep mine in the refrigerator, so, and I just, I don't like make a time limit on it.
Mm,
The actual activated charcoal powder doesn't really have an expiration date on it, but
okay.
you want to keep it to, if you just have the powder kind, you want to keep that in a specific temperature in like a cupboard or something cool, dry place, you know,
Oh, no, I'm talking about
and
like when you make the pulse, the what you call the word,
the
the
poultices.
yeah. Does that, like if you make a batch, can you just leave it in the fridge and use it a year later?
Yes. Yes, that's something that we suggest that you do. But of course, you want to check on everything, because the refrigerator, I've seen, even though charcoal absorbs a bunch of toxins, uh, in the refrigerator, it depends on how you're keeping it, with or without a lid or whatever. I always suggest keeping it with a lid,
Yes.
the poultice that you have, because it may absorb all the toxins that's in your refrigerator,
Yes,
and
that's a
next thing
good
you know, you
point.
have mold on it. So,
That's a very good point. So people,
so
make
you,
sure you put a lid because it will absorb the toxin from the refrigerator. So make sure it's properly in a container and not just left open.
yeah. And another thing about charcoal, if you're taking like a tablespoon of charcoal with a glass of water and you're mixing it up and drinking it, you want to make sure that you're not taking any um, food or medications before 2 hours before or 2 hours after. And
Mm,
the reason why is because the charcoal will absorb the medication, the properties in the medication.
mm,
So you don't want to do that. And also the good uh, properties in your food, it will absorb that too. So it's good to take, if you're taking like a tablespoon or teaspoon of activated powdered charcoal in a glass of water, then you want to follow it with a glass of water in
no,
addition to the glass, because charcoal can also cause constipation. So you want to make sure you're well hydrated.
okay. Good
Make
to
sure you're
know.
drinking enough water.
I try to take activated charcoal at least once a month, like a teaspoon with a glass of water, but I
Yes,
don't normally take another glass of water. So I'm glad you said that. So now I'll know when I take the charcoal in the water to have another cup of water after.
absolutely. And then just drink like you normally drink during the day to hydrate the body and the cells. And also, and the reason why I thought of these things is because I thought about me being in the country, and it's like, okay, if there's no medical facility around, and also we also noticed that during COVID, They basically, some of the doctors' offices just closed their door on the people and told them to fend for themselves, and told the people that this isn't an emergency. So, your surgeries had to wait. Everything was put on hold and the door was closed with the sign in the window. And they were just focused on the pandemic. So, you may not know how to use sutures, but you can get the ones that are user friendly, like the butterfly wound closure. It kind of looks like a band-aid, and it's kind of shaped like the wings of the butterfly on each side. So you would, like a band-aid, put one side down, and then with the other wing, you would put the other part down. So that helps keeps the wound closure in line, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. So that's another great thing to have in your emergency home remedy bag. I talked about vinegar, sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda. You want to be able to have that. Baking soda is good for wraps. You can use baking soda wraps for like the toe fungus. You can put a poultices with bacon on it, a baking soda on it. You just take the baking soda and just use a small amount of water to make it into kind of like a pancake batter, but it's not, because it's not a flour, it's not going to stay together like that, but just enough water to keep it into like a paste.
Hmm.
And then what a poultice is really is just like a wrap,
Hmm.
if you want to make it simple. And what you do is whatever you're using, whether that's a, a cabbage leaf, an onion poultice, there's charcoal poultice. With the onion poultice, what you normally do is you just, you know, you you scrape the onion just a little bit
Hmm.
to activate the properties of the onion, right? And then you can take that and put it, or you can just slice it and put it over the area that's inflamed. And then what I like to do with all of my poultices is take a saran wrap,
Hmm.
the clear plastic wrap, and wrap it around whatever you're putting on. And then I like to take a self adhesive bandage and use that to keep it in place. And if it's something messy like a potato poultice, because you typically grate the potato first and you use the inside part, the white part of the potato, and then you pack it like you would do like a hash brown kind of.
Hmm.
Um, is the raw potato, pack it down, and then you put that over the area. That's really good for um inflammation, like people who have water on the knees. I
Hmm.
use that a lot for people who have joint issues, and it helps extract the water out of the cell, out of the area, the joint where there's inflammation and water in the joint, or which we call edema, swelling.
Hmm.
Not all swelling is water. Some swelling can be lumps, or it could be tumors or whatever, but most of the people who have problems with arthritis, they know that it's the water in the knee.
Okay.
So you can use that. But for all the poultices is just a wrap. And you can have different ones. You can have a cabbage wrap, you can have potato, you can have an onion, you can have a charcoal poultice, and they're used for different reasons, and sometimes they're interchangeable
Hmm.
as well.
So the
Um,
charcoal poultice, all you would do is make like a paste with water and the charcoal.
yes, and then you can use flour. You can have
Okay.
like flour to make it into a paste
To make it more paste-like.
form.
Yeah.
Yes. So you can have like a quarter cup. It depends on where you're putting it and how much
Right.
uh
How much you
the
want.
the the area. that you're putting it on. But if it's just like a small area, you can have like a quarter cup of the flour and maybe two tablespoons of the charcoal, 2 or 3 tablespoons of the charcoal, and then you mix it together just with a small, you put your water in there slowly, and you mix it, and your whole consistency is to make like a paste, kind
Mm,
of like when you're shaping a burger, and you have that, it's not hard, but it's soft, but it's formable, kind of like Play-Doh.
mm-hmm.
So that consistency. And other people also use other herbs in it, like golden seal, depending on what you're trying to uh, remedy. Then you may put some herbs in the charcoal poultice also. A lot of people like to use a charcoal poultice on their face, and they'll do a charcoal mask, but they put honey in it because if you have
Mm.
bacteria, the bacteria likes to go where the sugar is. So then the bacteria is expelled out
Oh,
using
so the
the
honey
honey.
pulls the bacteria.
The bacteria likes the sugar, so it tends to gravitate to where the sugar is.
Okay. So I have a question, and I'm sorry, I'm just throwing this out there, so you may not know the answer, but I have been using a turmeric and honey mask. Now, I've seen people saying, oh, it does wonders. I have been using it for about a week and a half, and I have not seen any results on my face. Do you know anything about turmeric and honey, if it's true, if it truly, like the properties in it, if, like you said, the honey is good. So I'm like, okay, at least I know the honey actually does something, but I've been doing turmeric and honey. And I'm not really, and I don't know if I just need to wait for the results a little more. And I'm just trying to want instant result. But do you know anything about like turmeric and honey, or any like information
Yes,
about turmeric
turmeric.
mass?
Turmeric is anti-inflammatory. It has its anti-inflammatory properties. It also is used. The Indians have used turmeric for uh, years, years, to treat anemia.
Hmm.
So, so turmeric has very good properties. Also, turmeric, the actual generic name, um, the curcumin properties in the turmeric, um, that has been used to help with decreasing tumors.
Hmm.
So they've done a lot of studies to show that the turmeric has been used a lot to do that. And so, as far as using honey with turmeric, to what are you particularly trying to do with your face?
I guess have a nice glow and help with. I have some spots that I would like to see faded, and people just say it makes the skin nice and glowy. So I'm like, okay, let me try it.
Well, the skin is the largest organ of the body, and usually the reflection of the skin is something going on
Mm-hmm.
inside the body. So what makes a nice clear skin is drinking adequate amounts of water. And
Mm-hmm.
then also you have to, I would even suggest to do a diary about what foods that you tend to eat more frequently,
Mm-hmm.
because the skin is the reflection of what is inside, what's going on inside the body.
Yeah.
And that's the first place that it one of the first places that it shows up is in the skin. But turmeric is a very good uh, herb to have in your home, in your emergency kit. So that is definitely something a must have. And then also the peppermint oil. Peppermint oil is used for like digestive system disorders. If you have gas, bloating, indigestion, and peppermint oil is really good for that. Also, if you rub it on your chest, it also helps open up your pores.
Mm.
I know a lot of people use what do they call that? Vapor
The Vicks Vapor Rub.
Vicks.
Yeah.
Yes, they have peppermint oil inside the Vicks. So, but
So the
what
peppermint does the same thing like what the Vicks would do. It's just the peppermint is probably the natural remedy that they put in the Vicks. So you can use the peppermint to accomplish what the Vicks accomplishes.
yes. But of course, in the you with the pharmaceuticals, they put other stuff in there. It's
Mm-hmm.
just it's more than just peppermint in there. There's a whole lot of other ingredients in there.
Mm-hmm.
But it helps open up the pores, you know, and it's very good for digestive disorders. Another major must have is comfrey. Comfrey is good for the bones. It helps the healing of the bones.
Okay, I don't think
Uh,
I've ever heard of that one before. Can you repeat it?
it's comfrey, COM, as in Michael, FREY.
Hmm.
Comfrey. That is good for bone healing.
Is it like a powder or oil?
It's a plant.
A
So, but
plant.
they
Okay.
they make it into a salve. They make it into a paste,
And how do you use it? Just like rub it on your skin
like
for
a
bone
ointment.
healing.
They use the roots and the leaves, and they can make this. It helps the new skin and cells to grow together. It's also helps with the reduction of inflammation. But yeah, it's it's formulated into like a uh, an ointment.
Mm-hmm. And
But
if
you
you
can
want to
actually
use
leave
it,
the.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry. If you want
No,
to
no,
use
no.
it for, you said for bone healing, how does that work? Like you just rub it where you want to heal the bone, like if you feel,
Yes.
mm,
Yep. And you can use that for back pain and arthritis also. You can also use the leaves and place it on there like a poultice as well. Like you just take the leaves. Like if you had a cabbage poultice, what you're doing is you're taking the like the what I like to call the arms of the cabbage. So you're peeling those off and then you cover the area that needs healing, and
mm-hmm,
then you can wrap it with the saran wrap and then another wrap. But the things that are messy and that may drain or maybe even smell, you might want to put a cloth in between the wrap itself, the self adhesive wrap. So if you put the poultice, then the clear wrap, and then you would put the like a small washcloth or something, anything that will absorb like the liquid that may come out.
any leakage.
Yeah, so that's the purpose of it. Or you can just wrap it and just wrap it with a towel after you put the self adhesive um, wrap or bandage on there. So those are really good. And you must have aloe vera,
Mm.
aloe vera plant. If you can keep an aloe vera plant um, in your house somewhere on your porch or whatever, wherever, that has been used for thousands of years. The aloe vera plant for healing. It's great for repairing the digestive lining, repairing the lining of your gut. So, and just also good to help release if a person is constipated. It also helps with wounds, the healing of wounds, burns, all of those things. It's so many different wonderful benefits of having aloe vera plant nearby. And that leads me to a lot of people. I believe Monique was asking at one point about allergies and sinus problems. And
Hmm.
what I like for people to do is to check their houses first, because you need to make sure your house, you have clean air. And I like to share some of the things that I this is not a commercial for doTERRA, but they have a magazine that they send out all the time, and I really like it because those are some of the things that I like to do in my house. Is is speaking about, the article is about cleaning the air in your home, and it talks about the pollutants that could be in your home, the radon gas, the uh, carbon monoxide, and things like that, and maybe even mold and
Mm.
allergens. And it was talking about how we need to clean our house. There's some specific things you can use in your house, like a spider plant. And it talks about how the spider plant within 2 days can remove about 90% of the toxins in your home.
Wow.
Yes, it's very good. Like getting rid of some molds and dust allergens, but it talks about its real power being the ability to absorb like formaldehyde and carbon monoxide.
Mm, that's
So
good.
if you're going to have a plant in your house,
That's
you
one
can
to
get,
get.
yes, get you a spider plant. But another good thing to do if you having sinus or allergy issues, it's kind of like a person who's allergic to something. You want to have, the way to lessen your allergies is to get rid of the thing that's causing you the allergies. So it could be some things inside your house. It's important to dust more often in your house. A lot of times we spend so much time in our houses, or not only in our houses, but also in our workplace, where we're closed up all the time. But if you remember our parents and grandparents, what they used to do is they used to have all the windows open, and they were cross ventilating the house, and they didn't have all of these wall to wall carpets. They had area rugs, which they would take outside on the porch and take the broom and beat out the dust.
Hmm.
So, but we have wall to wall carpet in our houses, and all those allergens and uh, particles are falling right in there.
Yeah.
And the vacuum cleaner is just spreading them from side to side. It's really not absorbing all of the allergens into the vacuum bag. And so that's real important to uh monitor our homes. Also, the air vents, to, like, for your air conditioner,
Hmm.
uh you want to change your filters. What the one that I used to have, I don't have central air now, but when I had central air, the guy who installed it, he made it a point to make sure that I would change the filter every month.
Hmm.
But some people, they change theirs every 3 months. That may be waiting too long. So that's another good um thing to do in your house. Also, like I was saying, dusting, take a damp cloth and wipe off all of your furniture. It requires work, but the more you do it, it's the less
Have to do
allergens.
it. Yeah.
And also, if you have mini blinds in your house, you need to dust those mini blinds. You need to open those windows and air it out, air the house out. Get some cross ventilation going in the house.
Yes.
And you're vacuuming, you're changing the uh, air filters. And here's another good reason why essential oils are good too, is you can use the diffuser, and then you can use things like On Guard, and they'll help purify the air, the tea tree oil. You just put a couple of drops with some water and put on the diffuser and it'll clean it out. One thing that I have in my upstairs and downstairs, I have a humidifier reader to let me know what the humidity levels are in the house. I also have a mold detector as well.
Mm.
So because I live in the country and surrounded by trees, then you have high humidity out here. So it's good to have a dehumidifier in your house as well. I have one for upstairs and one for downstairs. So you want to decrease your chances of having developing mold in the house, but also having the air conditioner on it's also using the dehumidifier as well. So that
Well,
that's
Esther,
good.
you have given us a lot to think about. One thing I wanted to touch on, like you said, the cross ventilation. I've been thinking about this. A lot of times we're in our homes, in our apartment, it's all locked up, the AC is going, then we get into our cars in the AC. Then the most we do is walk from our car to a building that is all AC. So we're not getting the natural air. We're just getting this. And I think we need to start either going outside and, especially if you live in the country, breathing in good, natural,
Yeah.
God-given air, or try
Yes.
to walk some more and get and not just breathe in recycled air in your workplace, in your car, in your home. And the most you get of natural air is walking from your car to a building.
Yes, that's a very good point. Yes, it's very important for us to get fresh air. And in fact, that's one of the health principles, a major health principle is to getting fresh air.
But
Um,
we want to thank you so much again for this. So you've given us some natural remedies that we should have in the home. And what I like about the items that you gave us is that there are things that most people have lying around the house. So it's not a lot of
exactly.
things that you have to go out and source. You have it. And then you gave us the natural detox with the charcoal, and then you told us some essential things that we should have in our home remedy kit in case we cannot get to the hospital or in case another pandemic, God forbid, hits, we will be able to use them. But we're running out of time, so we're going to have to leave it here. Uh,
Okay. I
we,
just want to say one quick thing.
mhm.
It's the simple thing that doesn't cost any money, but another thing to help keep allergens and pollutants out of your house is when you come out from outside, take those shoes off. Don't go in your
Mm.
house with those shoes. I
Oh,
mean,
good
we
tip.
we yeah, we bring in a whole lot of bacteria and things in our house from the bottom of our shoes.
Mm. A good tip. But thank you so much. I have learned a lot, and I'm pretty sure our listeners have learned a lot. And I cannot thank you enough for agreeing to speak with us. Uh, you've been a great help. And I just want to thank you again for allowing the Lord to use you. So I know
Praise
our
God.
listeners, praise God, and I know our listeners have learned a lot. So we will speak with you guys next week.